Can Minnesota couples automatically share their Minnesota estate tax exemption? No, they can't do it automatically, but on the federal side we can, and it's called portability. I'm going to break down in this video what portability is and what the differences are between Minnesota law and federal law. Watch this video to learn more. I'm Jason Wagner with Wagner Oehler. Today we're going to be talking about portability. What does it mean and how does it impact our clients in Minnesota? Portability is a feature of the federal estate tax code that allows married couples to share their unused exemption limit. On January 1st, 2026, we're going to have $15 million exemption. Both spouses will have that $15 million exemption. So a combined $30 million on the federal side that a married couple can pass before they have to pay estate tax. Now, a lot of planning is done in such a way that assets would pass to the surviving spouse. Maybe we use a portion of that exemption limit, that $15 million at the first spouse's death, but we might not use all of it. So let's say that we have used $5 million of our exemption limit. Husband dies, $5 million passes to the kids right away, $10 million passes to the spouse. The $10 million that passes to his wife is not subject to estate tax. It gets a marital deduction. But does that mean that we've lost that $10 million exemption? No. That surviving spouse can grab onto that $10 million of exemption that wasn't used and add it onto hers. So why wasn't it used? Because it is subject to the marital deduction. So the $10 million went to the wife, which means that $10 million is not used, but it can still be available for the future. We want to grab onto that. We want to elect to port that over to the surviving spouse. Now she has her $15 million exemption plus her husband's unused $10 million exemption. So now this person has a $25 million federal estate tax exemption. So how does this differ for Minnesota? We have to remember that just like with income taxes, these are two separate tax laws. We have the federal tax law, which I just talked about, and we have Minnesota estate tax law. The Minnesota estate tax exemption is much lower. It's a $3 million exemption, which means that if you have a estate over $3 million, you potentially are going to be paying tax. Minnesota, just like the federal, allows unlimited marital deductions, which means that everything that you leave to your spouse is not subject to tax. But unlike the federal, Minnesota doesn't allow us to port over or share that unused exemption amount. So let's take a similar example for Minnesota. We have a married couple, husband and wife. They each have a $3 million exemption, $6 million combined. Now let's say that husband dies and he leaves $2 million to the kids right away and he leaves $1 million to his spouse. Does that mean that we can share that $1 million that he left to the spouse and now she has a $4 million exemption? No, that we do not. We do not get to have portability in Minnesota. That $1 million transfer to the spouse, which could have used the $3 million exemption, is now lost. So let's say that again. Husband has $3 million. $2 of it is used because it goes to the kids. $1 million is not used because it goes to the spouse. But that spouse is still only going to have her $3 million exemption. So if she has a $3 million estate on her own and $1 million got added from husband, she now has a $4 million estate. But she does not have a $4 million exemption. She only has a $3 million exemption. So you can see that this is a stark contrast between what the federal law allows and what Minnesota law allows. We do not get to automatically share our exemption. Married couples in Minnesota, you do not have a combined $6 million exemption unless you have an estate plan that actually uses it. This is the reason why trusts and credit shelter trusts are very commonplace and an important estate planning tool in Minnesota, because we can now turn on a device that allows us to make sure that both spouses are using their full exemption amount. How do we do that? Well, take that million again. Rather than having it go out to the spouse, let's say we're going to hold it in the husband's name in his trust. The spouse can still be the beneficiary and she can be the trustee, but she's not going to be the owner for tax purposes. This means now we've used the husband's full $3 million exemption. The $2 that went to the kids and the $1 million that stays in trust for his widow. So now the widow, she has her own $3 million estate and she has a $3 million exemption. That means it's tax-free now, estate tax-free. So we've used both spouses' $3 million. This one went at the husband's death. This goes at the wife's death. They've both utilized what the state has given them with a $3 million exemption in a smart way. But if they did not have a good estate plan and they did not have these trusts in place, they would not have been able to do that. Now, every year we do have some proposals to allow portability in Minnesota. It doesn't seem to get a lot of traction. This year it would benefit about 158 taxpayers each year. This goes to show there are a lot of estates and taxpayers out there that are negatively impacted by not having portability. These 158 taxpayers that would benefit from the bill, potentially that means they don't have their estate planning in order, because if they have a good estate plan, we can kind of work through this, we can work around it. The state indicates that if they were to adopt this in fiscal year 2027, it would result in about $1.6 million of estate tax not collected. It would save taxpayers money. It would help simplify some estate planning, but we don't have portability in Minnesota. We do need to plan for that. We do need to make sure that couples have a proper trust-based estate plan. Failure to do that means you're potentially not getting access to both spouses' Minnesota exemption limits, which means that you may not have a $6 million combined estate tax protection. You might just be left with the $3 million of estate tax protection. For more information, check out WagnerLegalMN.com. If you'd like to work with us, give us a call, 507-288-5567.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. For more information, visit our website. To keep the conversation going, give us a call and let us know how we can help.